We are back with another episode of Mac Stories Unwind. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Viticci. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm having quite a day. I've spent my part of my day dealing with lawyers because not my lawyers, not our lawyers,
thankfully,
Apple's lawyers.
Well, and it's because and it's also not about like they're not suing Mac Stories. In fact,
No,
they're
thank
getting
goodness.
sued by the U.S. government. So that's something that we're covering on the site. But yeah, fun morning for you. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's always a slice to kind of relive my old life. But we're not here really to talk about lawsuits, Federico. We're here to talk about picks and all the good stuff.
Okay, I have a whole thing that I need to
you
share.
said you did. I had a little bit of an unplugged segment, but my guess is that you've got a little bit more for me than we can handle. So we'll come back to a little discovery I made recently in another episode down the road.
Okay, thank you. So it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, really for years, and then it sort of all came together earlier this week. So it all started because I read somewhere that the latest album by Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine, was directly inspired by the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is also my pick this week. So this is
I've never seen it.
Okay. So this is a movie from 2004 starring Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet as the main characters, but also Kirsten Dunst, Mark Ruffalo, and Elijah Wood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, quite a cast, really.
Yeah.
And this is one of the many movies that's been on my list forever. Mm-hmm. And when I saw the headlines that the album by Ariana Grande was the album is called Eternal Sunshine, and it's literally inspired by Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And one of her music videos, I believe it's for the song "We Can Be Friends." The music video, "We Can Be Friends," is literally inspired by many of the scenes in the movie, down to what's actually happening in the video, and some of the cinematography and some of the shots are literally inspired by the movie. And I say this because something finally clicked in my brain when I saw this. And I think it was a combination of things. So first of all, over the years, I have accumulated a long list of movies that I want to watch. And I saw this headline. I realized I now have a Vision Pro, which makes for a really excellent movie watching experience. I decided I want to finally do something about the fact that I am not a movie person. This is something that we've talked about this, I think, on and off over the years. This is something that I have long regretted about myself, that I don't watch enough movies. I've always been a TV person. I've always been a video game person. I read the occasional book. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I read a lot of web articles. But movies, I have never quite been able to get into them.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe you have become less of a movie person than when I first got to know you.
Yes.
Because I remember you and I talking about movies years ago, but very little over the last, 3 or 4 years.
And I think it's maybe the time commitment.
I have a theory, at least for me personally, which is it's an attention span thing, that because we work on the internet, it's very hard to sit through something that's more than an hour long.
That is true. Like the internet has absolutely ruined our attention spans. I think that's correct. But also I think over the past couple of years, it all goes back to that, like, moving and thinking about the house. Now
recently,
finally, now it's only been 4 or 5 months that I feel like, okay, now I have all this time back for myself. And now I feel like I'm in the same mind space that I was like 3 years ago, right? Before buying a house, before thinking about furniture, before thinking about finishing, stuff around the house. And so now I feel like I have time again. And so it's not surprising that this thought of like, I want to watch more movies. I feel like I'm missing out on good stories.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, I think when you are a creative person, exposing yourself to other creative works is really good for your output, and it's really good for your inspiration. And I feel like that's something that's been missing from my life. And so something clicked, right? This week for me. And I saw that headline and I remember, oh, that's a movie that I've been meaning to watch for such a long time. Maybe it's finally time that I watch it. And so I did. So I watched over, of course, 2 days, because I don't have a lot of time. Like, I don't have time during the day, and I basically my free time is before I fall asleep. I got like a couple of hours for myself, and usually, I play a bunch of video games, or I read something, and then I thought, instead of playing Final Fantasy for like 2 hours, I'm gonna try and watch a movie. And so I watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I gotta tell you, John, I loved this movie. So it's very much my kind of movie. It's about this idea of it's, first of all, a non-linear narrative. So you gotta follow this non-linear structure when watching this movie. And it's about this couple, Joel and Clementine, played by Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. A truly excellent performance by Kate Winslet. I believe she was nominated for Best Actress 20 years ago. The movie was nominated for Best Movie, but I think it's the year that Million Dollar Baby won instead. But this movie won Best Screenplay, however, at the Oscars. So this couple, the movie starts. This couple is broken up, and we learn through the course of the movie that Clementine, because she was really struggling after this breakup, she decides to undergo this procedure at this company called Lacuna, I believe. This procedure that promises to erase all memories of her previous relationship from her brain. So it's basically like selective amnesia, really. Like this procedure that targets all the memories related to Joel and her relationship with Joel. And after undergoing this procedure, she won't remember anything about that relationship and Joel and that breakup. And once Joel learns that Clementine has decided to undergo this procedure, he also decides to do the same. And before doing that, he records on a cassette tape sort of like the story of their relationship. So undergoing this procedure means you need to fall asleep, and somebody from the Lacuna company comes to your house, and they put like this helmet on your head, and they start like using lasers or something on a computer. They sort of like mapping out the memories in the neurons in your brain, and they start erasing every single memory. The only problem is that during this procedure, Joel is awake. Like inside his mind is awake. And as he starts reliving all these memories, so the relationship between Joel and Clementine is told in a non-linear fashion through these memories that Joel is reliving as the procedure is deleting these memories. As he's really re-witnessing all these moments from their relationship, and thanks to these memories, you understand exactly what happened, he decides he wants to keep the memories. Because he realizes that though there have been a lot of bad moments, there were also some incredibly happy moments. And he decides that he doesn't want to lose them. So really the majority of the movie is Joel trying to fight against the procedure. And it's such a cool experience watching this movie. Like even just the cinematography of the movie, watching like these mundane scenes sort of disappear all around Joel and Clementine. It's very nicely realized from a mere visual perspective. And like, I mean, it's a movie from 20 years ago, but still, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched the movie. I think it's got a very satisfying end. And I think the reason I like this movie is that I realize that it sort of It has a bunch of things that are made exactly for me. First of all, Kate Winslet, right?
Yeah, of course.
Huge
I know
Titanic
why.
fan. So
yes.
you know why I just love Kate Winslet as an actress. But I'm also a big fan of Jim Carrey. I gotta say, I think what he's able to convey with his expressions and mannerism is just incredible. Incredible actor. This movie is also about non-linear narrative structures, which is also something that I appreciate from a creative perspective. It's also about the idea of time and memory. And you know me, like the idea of playing around with a person's memory and ideas, very much my wheelhouse. I mean, Inception is probably my favorite movie ever, right? So it makes sense that this movie resonated with me. And I mean, it is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. And I gotta say that I really liked it. Now, I'm here after watching this movie, and this is gonna sound like such an obvious thing, like, oh, big deal, Tichy watched the movie. But you gotta understand that this is a big deal for me because it's something that I haven't done in a long time.
Right.
And I watched this movie alone. Like I just put on my Vision Pro and I watched this movie in the Vision Pro. So I am here on this episode of Unwind. I guess what I'm saying is I want to become a movie person. Like,
okay.
I don't want to, like, I'm not saying that I want to become like a movie buff or like this huge expert, but I want to watch more movies. And to do that, I think I know what my next movie is going to be.
Okay.
But I think I want to put out a few requests.
Okay.
So the movie I think I'm going to watch next is very much along these lines, also by a director that I love. It's going to be the movie Memento by Christopher Nolan.
Oh, yeah. That's supposed to be quite a good one. I've not seen that one either. This is yet another one I haven't seen. Maybe we should both watch that one and talk about it together.
Oh, that would be nice. So this is a movie from the year 2000. I believe it's also a psychological drama. So very much my my sort of thing.
Yeah, we talked to Jonathan about that. I think when we did a AV club in the Discord for Club Mac Stories members, if I remember right, because we were talking about a Batman movie, I believe, and Christopher Nolan's past work came up.
Yeah, that seems possible. So I think that's going to be my next movie. But really, my requests are, I am, at this point, an empty bucket. I don't have a movie culture at all. And I think there are a lot of people who listen to Unwind who are maybe cinema experts, people who watch a lot of movies, like the Jonathans and the Sigmunds and the Devons of our audience. Imagine that I am an empty bucket or a blank canvas, use whatever analogy you prefer. And I am here ready to be filled with recommendations. I think based on what I said on this show and other shows, that people should have a rough idea of what I like. But I want to build up just a decent culture of movies. Like I just want to watch good stuff. And to give you more examples, I love Titanic. I love Inception. I loved Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I really, really liked when I saw it a few years ago, Good Will Hunting. Like it is one of my favorite movies ever. So that's sort of to give you an example of my taste. So please send me, like, even just you have a list of 20 movies, don't feel bad for sending me a list of 20 movies, because I probably have hundreds that I gotta watch. And the second thing is, after I watch a movie, I want to save a quick personal comment about it, like somewhere. Now I know that Letterboxd is a really popular service.
Right, that's one thing I was going to maybe suggest.
So here's the thing.
Rob is doing something with this too. Rob is doing a thing where he's collecting like reviews of like very short form reviews that he does, and he posts them on his website. But I wonder if you could do that just if you want to keep them for yourself personally.
Interesting.
Too.
So that's exactly what I was gonna go next. So the thing about Letterboxd is that you sign up. I have an account. You sign up. You have a profile. You search for movies. You add them to lists. It's very nicely done.
Yep.
But then if you want to add a review, it's a public review.
Right.
And here's the thing. I am coming into this as a newbie, and I feel bad about like, oh, this guy's putting out opinions, but also like I'm doing this for myself, and already for a living, everything I write is public.
Right.
And just for once, I would like to have something that's just for me.
Well, this might be a good use case for journal or for day one. You know,
I thought about that. But then what you're gonna miss with that setup is the nice ability to search for a movie and have a movie poster and have a star rating, you know?
I think I know an app that has a feature coming that you could use from our friend Roman.
Yeah, I was thinking about sequel, and that's probably what I'm gonna check out next.
Go check out the club beta beat in the Discord, because he's got a feature coming that I think will help you out.
Nice plug. Well done, John. But yeah, so if you have recommendations for movies and for tools, apps, or services to keep track of movies, but keep the opinions to yourself, like I don't want to leave public reviews, you know? But hey, send those over. And yeah, I'm here, John.
You could, Federico, you could very easily set up a shortcut too, where you just like pull some artwork from one of those databases, like the one that Casey's using for his app, and then, you know, do something in Obsidian, you know, put a little text in and then just like save it to Obsidian or save it to Notes or something like that. That's another idea. Let me just ask you a couple of questions just to kind of help frame this for people who are maybe sending you recommendations. Are you looking to understand kind of the history of movie making, or are you more interested in kind of exploring particular genres? Or, you know, I'm trying to get to are you interested in like old movies? Are you interested in kind of like art house movies? Are you interested in the things that get Oscars, or the things that are just popular? I mean, like, is there anything along those lines that would help people maybe steer you in the right direction?
That is an excellent question. I think for sure, like movies that win Oscars, I think that's a good way to put it. I don't think I'm ready.
Movies,
I don't think I'm ready for like the too artsy stuff. Like, oh, this is like the movies from, you know, a Japanese, I mean, no offense, but like from this obscure director, a movie from 1935 that they teach, you know, students in film school. Like, I feel like that is not what I'm looking for. Even though it may be an incredible movie, but, you know, if I were to imagine sort of the ramp up for me for this experience, you know, I think I would start with maybe the popular stuff or movie that have
well known but acclaimed movies, I guess is what I would.
Good movies, but I'm not gonna sign up for film school. I just want to be a person who knows movies more than I do now, which is zero or almost zero.
You also might want to explore a couple of different subscriptions like Criterion Collection, which is all about, you know, it's the whole point of the Criterion Collection is that it's just supposed to be good movies. And it does have some of that art house type stuff in there, but it does have more popular movies as well. And Mubi, I think, is another one, MUBI, that is very, very movie focused too. Might be worth just like checking them out. I think that they're not super duper expensive, and they might be a nice way to supplement what you've already got available to you through other services. All right, this is good. I may actually come up with some for you. I don't know. I haven't been watching as many movies recently, but I did watch Napoleon because I was on Magic Rays of Light with Sigmund and Devon not long ago, and we talked about Napoleon. And while it wasn't my absolute favorite movie, I really did enjoy watching it in the Vision Pro. All right, well, that's cool. I like that, Federico. I like that a lot. Let me hit you with a pick if we're ready to move on.
Okay, yes.
I love The Gentleman, which is a series on Netflix. This is a Guy Ritchie series. It was developed by him. I think he directed the first 1 or 2 episodes. I think it's also an 8-episode run of roughly 45-minute to an hour episodes. In some ways, it reminded me of this other Netflix series called Ozark, which was about people who went out into the country and where this guy was running a resort in the country and was in the drug trade. It's like that in a sense. There's this whole genre of like fish out of water drug trade movies. And this is, or TV series, this is a lot like, because it's set in England and it's an aristocratic family. The father dies, and the family estate is taken over by one of the sons. The other one son is really flaky. Edward is the younger son, and he takes over the estate. His mother lives there. His older brother and his wife live there. And it turns out that his father was in business with some marijuana farmers, and that beneath their dairy farm is an entire underground crop of marijuana plants. And so this is a relationship with a family called the Glass family. The father is very much kind of like a mafia style boss who's living a really good life in prison, where he's got like a Japanese chef who feeds him every day, and he's got his fine cigars. He's basically living kind of a resort life inside of a prison. And his daughter has taken over the business and is running it for him. And so this is about the relationship between Edward, who has taken over the estate for his father, and Susan Glass, who is running this drug trade at this estate and other locations, and a power struggle between the Glass family, who runs this business, and others who want to kind of come in and take over the drug trade. And it's just, it's very Guy Ritchie, really stylistic, quite violent, and a really fun story because it has this interesting clash between what you maybe would expect from kind of a countryside English aristocracy type of movie or TV show with the violence of the drug trade and trying and also just kind of trying to grow this business. There's a lot of kind of entrepreneurial type of themes to a lot of what they're trying to do to modernize this drug trade. And I found it just like really, really entertaining. I mean, literally, I would say this is the best TV show I've seen in 2 or 3 years, easily.
Wow. High praise.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. I don't usually binge stuff, and I finished this over the span of about 6 days, maybe, and just absolutely loved it. So highly recommend seeing The Gentleman.
All right.
I do want to do something a little different with today's episode, and we will maybe expand on this in future episodes, but I do want to talk about what's in our queue. And you've already talked a little bit about what's in your queue, which is basically recommendations and movies from listeners.
The entire movie industry.
Yeah, and I have two, and one of them is a movie that I think you might like, since you liked Good Will Hunting. The TV show, though, is Palm Royale, which is on Apple TV+.
Yes. I saw the trailer. I think we're going to start watching this too with Sylvia.
Oh, nice. Yeah, this is one that I thought that would be very good for me and Jennifer, because I think it was one that we would both like. And it's kind of billed as a dramedy about a ambitious woman who's trying to work her way into high society in Palm Beach in around the late 60s. So I don't really know much about it other than I've seen the trailer and I thought it looked really good. And I'm looking forward to starting that this weekend. And then the movie is The Holdovers, which is about a really cranky history teacher who's stuck at a prep school over the holidays with a troubled student and a cook who is grieving. And it's kind of one of these people stuck in an enclosed environment together who wouldn't normally give each other the time of day type of films, I think. And it got a lot of critical praise at the time. It's available now to buy and rent, basically, on Apple TV or Amazon Prime, bunch of different places. But I'm planning on watching that one as well, because it's got that kind of New England prep school thing. That's why I was thinking about it with Good Will Hunting, which all takes place in, I think it's Boston. So
nice.
Might be a good one to put on your list.
Yeah. Do you want to watch Memento?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
We're going to watch Memento? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Would you want to do it for next week? Because I can, maybe I'll watch it this weekend. Do you have time this weekend?
Yeah, let's watch it this weekend, then we'll talk about it next week.
All right. Sounds good. Definitely.
All
right, everybody. That's another Mac Stories Unwind. You can find me and Federico over at macstories.net, which is very quickly becoming a bit of a legal blog, because you will find me talking about the DOJ lawsuit. And I have a feeling that this is going to be part of what I do for a very long time. I'm just kind of hunkering down and getting ready for the next 2-3 years. You can also find us on Mastodon. Just go to vitici.macstories.net and johnvoorhees.macstories.net. And we're on Threads and Instagram. Federico is at Viticci. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.